This is a WYMT Mountain News presentation.
Reports coming in that there is a tornado on the ground, and looking at that radar signature, I'll tell you
classic.
what, I just about bet my bottom dollar that that's the case, and it is headed right toward Morgan County.
We could see it forming and twisting, and we stood in our yard and watched it twist over, and it come right towards West Liberty.
I'm breaking down. I'm physically healthy. I'm mentally shot. I gotta pull myself together to keep the county going.
I was telling them it's okay, but in my mind I knew that we was dead. Just this one time I'm gonna ask you, just don't let this hurt my babies.
This is the Mountain News Weekend Edition, remembering March 2nd.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Steve Hensley. 1 year ago tonight, one of the worst natural disasters in Kentucky's history was unfolding after several tornadoes left behind a path of death and destruction. We will have reports from across the region on this 1 year anniversary, but first, snow is causing some problems on this March 2nd. Meteorologist Shane Smith joins us now with more on what to expect overnight. Shane?
Steve, it's really hard to believe what a difference a year can make. This time last year, we were talking about the ravage the tornadoes caused. This year, some problems with snow causing travel issues. Let's go ahead and get over to Pinpoint Doppler radar, check it out, and you can see some heavier bands of snow, especially over into eastern portions of the viewing area, right around Pikeville, heading back to the west over towards Salyersville. And these snow showers can quickly put down a coating of snow. We just got this picture in on my Twitter page, Shane WYMT. That's from Tammy Hacker in Stinnett in Leslie County. And you can see that road is covered in snow. So if you're going to be out tonight, definitely going to be on the slick side in some locations, and will also be that way tomorrow morning as a lot of folks head out to the Sunday morning services. We go ahead and take a look at current temperatures. 26 London, 29 Middlesboro, 23 Wise, Virginia, 25 in Jackson. So a chilly night ahead. Most of us wake up in the mid-20s with a few lingering snow showers with slick spots possible, but by around 9 a.m. the snow should begin to wrap up a bit, and by tomorrow afternoon we may see a little bit of sunshine. And Steve, we got quite the forecast, more chances of wintry weather, and then some spring-like temperatures. We'll talk about it in more detail coming up.
Well, this March has definitely started on a wintry note.
It sure has.
Shane, thank you very much. Lives were changed forever across the state 1 year ago today. The town of West Liberty was nearly leveled during the tornado outbreak, and today the community came together to remember what was lost. WYMT's Rebecca Pewitt talked with survivors at today's memorial service. She joins us now from the newsroom with more. Rebecca?
Steve, the tone at today's memorial service was very positive and upbeat. It included music and honored many people that have contributed to the county's rebuilding efforts. But officials also made sure to remember what they say was such a tragic day exactly 1 year ago.
Frederick, are you in the crowd?
Each person in this room at Morgan County High School has their own tornado story. Some barely escaped with their lives.
I knew my roof had came off, and it picked me up just a very little. And I just threw my two granddaughters in the back floorboard and laid on top of them.
And some immediately began helping others.
We had to do our job. First and foremost, I had a town full of people that needed help. But then again, back in my mind, my kids, I didn't know if they were okay or not.
But 1 year later, they can all come together to celebrate the progress West Liberty has made.
We need help, we need guidance to help us through this. So we've had our first year, and we can close this chapter now and move forward.
And at exactly 5:47 p.m., the moment the tornado hit their town, they observed a moment of silence for the lives that were lost.
Forever in our hearts, but never forgotten. God bless all the families and communities affected by the 2012 tornadoes.
They ended the night by releasing lanterns in their honor, remembering that the flame of Morgan County will not be blown out. County officials also shared future rebuilding plans at the service. Steve?
All right, lots of emotion in that room tonight, I'm sure. Rebecca, thank you very much. More than half of those who died in the tornado outbreak were in Morgan and Laurel counties. Tonight, the First Baptist Church of East Bernstadt in Laurel County held a service to honor those lost. WYMT's Steve King was there.
The service at the First Baptist Church of East Bernstadt was a way to remember those who lost everything 1 year ago. Beulah Chadwell and her family lost their home.
There was a lady, her name is Robin, and her husband, they had put us in a home when we really didn't have no home to go to. And community, they was really good to us. They really was, and they gave us food and clothes.
The service is also a way for people to remember that the tragedy brought out the best in the community.
There was as many people in the surrounding counties coming in and donating as there was from here. It was just absolutely amazing. It restores faith in mankind.
Many say they could have not made it without the help of neighbors.
We were able to focus and put differences aside and come together for a common purpose and a common goal, which the common goal was to help any hurting victim.
There's no way that just law enforcement could have took care of this disaster that we had. You know, we had volunteers in county from surrounding counties. We even had volunteers out of state.
Officials say 62 families either lost loved ones or their homes in Laurel County, but some say the community is stronger than ever.
It's not a reunion, I wouldn't put it exactly like that, but I think it's really important that everybody gets together and just, we've all gotten close to this.
Nicholson says the service helps in the ongoing recovery process. In Laurel County, Steve King, WYMT Mountain News.
Laurel County Sheriff John Root and Judge Executive David Westerfield were among the speakers at tonight's service. Many folks in East Bernstadt have rebuilt their homes in the last year. The home of Michelle and Freddie Diaz had its roof blown off while they were inside taking shelter with their children. Nobody was seriously hurt, and the tornado caused $40,000 in damages to their house. They say the past year has changed them in several ways.
You have a greater empathy for people when they go through that, because you know you can see it all day long on TV and you're just like, wow, I really hate that. But when you go through it, you're wanting to cry with them.
The Diaz's rebuilt and say the whole experience has brought them closer to their neighbors. Volunteers from across the country have helped with recovery efforts in Magoffin County. The tornado tore apart homes, businesses, schools, and churches. Some businesses have rebuilt and reopened while others are still under construction. Folks who lost their homes are starting to move into their new homes. County officials say all of the volunteers helped them get to this point.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody that's really helped out. The people of Magoffin County really come together. We had a lot of volunteers from other places, other states. We really had a lot of help here, and I certainly do appreciate each and every one of them.
The St. Luke Catholic Church is one place preparing to rebuild. They are breaking ground tomorrow on a new building. People in Johnson County are also still recovering from a deadly tornado there. The EF3 tornado claimed 2 lives in the Hager Hill community that night. 16-year-old Sean Shepard and 20-year-old Greg Perry. Folks in that area say it's been a hard year, but they are thankful for what they have and how far they've come.
God knows what we can handle and what we can't handle, and I don't know, just accept it for what it is and be thankful.
Folks in Hager Hill say most of the rebuilding is done, but they still have some cleanup work to do. There were no lives lost in Martin County, but there were several people left without homes. Today there are signs of progress, with many of those homes being rebuilt. Community support and local churches have helped get victims back on their feet. Folks say it has been a long and hard process to this point, and there is still much work to be done.
It was a hard lick. That's the first never I've been through, but I pray to God that I never have to go through nothing else like that.
Victims of last year's twister all say even though they lost pretty much everything, they are truly thankful to be alive. The same tornado that rolled through much of the northern half of the area also hit Lawrence County, killing 2 people there. In the town of Blaine, the winds were so strong that they toppled a mobile home on Little Blaine Road and blew it over a car where it landed on the other side of the road. The storm eventually moved into Wayne County, West Virginia, damaging homes there before dissipating. 3 people died during the tornado outbreak in Menifee County. On this somber anniversary, the community gathered together inside the high school gymnasium. The names of those who died are now part of a memorial unveiled today. The monument sits outside the Menifee County Courthouse.
It also speaks to how this community comes together, how this community is strong, and how it's coming back, and it's a real tribute to the people of Menifee County.
Congressman Barr told the people of Menifee County he is working to make sure the federal government is better prepared if something like this should happen again. Meteorologists with the National Weather Service are adopting a new warning system with more descriptive language to let people know when dangerous storms are headed their way. The impact-based warning system will use words like considerable and catastrophic to describe the level of threat to homes and businesses. Meteorologists say catastrophic will be reserved for only the most devastating storms, like some that ripped through eastern Kentucky 1 year ago.
When you have a large catastrophic tornado that's moving towards people like we had on March 2nd, being able to use the impact-based warning will just provide another level of alert for people.
The Jackson Monitoring Station will begin to use the new warnings April 1st. In West Liberty, the property damage was catastrophic. 7 of the buildings destroyed were churches, including the historic West Liberty Methodist Church. As WYMT's Amber Philpott reports, the storm might have taken the building, but brought something else to the area.
Hello to you from West Liberty. You know, there are just some images from the devastation that we showed you that stick with you. And for me, it was a church that's right down at the end of Main Street. Tonight, I want to show you how that church is continuing its mission, even though it was broken apart.
The March 2nd tornado was not particular in what it chose to destroy. West Liberty lost several churches, but never its faith in the community. This was West Liberty United Methodist Church.
It sat on the best corner in the whole county.
And this is what the storm did to that church.
The church was 99 years old. It was looking forward to its 100th anniversary.
Pastor Jamie Brunk has only been with the church for the last 8 months. In a way, you could say the tornado brought him to West Liberty, having lived in Owsley County 24 years.
A week after the tornado hit, we came over to see if we could help. Okay? I had no idea at that time that my bishop was going to appoint me to come here.
He did, and Pastor Brunk has been helping his congregation heal and soon rebuild.
I see a lot of remarkable development already in 1 year's time.
Sunday worship now takes place here at the Morehead State Academic Center. Through the week, its auditorium serves as the circuit courtroom, and on Sunday, it's used for praise.
So our slogan is, you get justice during the week and mercy on the weekend.
It was a victim of the storm, broken and battered, but soon Pastor Brunk hopes this 99-year-old church will begin again, this time in a much larger space, but in its old home.
And I should tell you, there were actually some people who rode out that storm, huddled together in a cubby space in the bottom of that church, and they made it out. That church will make it back as well. As you saw there, they hope to break ground later this year and get it rebuilt.
Amber Philpott, WYMT 57 Mountain News.
Also in West Liberty, the signs of rebuilding and progress can be seen and heard every day. The March 2nd tornado destroyed 74 commercial properties, and slowly, one by one, they are coming back. The Citizens Bank spent the last 11 months operating out of the IGA grocery store. Just last week, it reopened in its new location, something of a symbol for this business.
We wanted to get reestablished as fast as possible. Not just because, not just to have a building, but to give a little sign of hope that this community would rebound.
The bank will have its grand reopening April 6th. There was another big story today. 6 people are dead after a crash in Kentucky. It happened late this morning on Interstate 65 near Elizabethtown. Police say 6 members of a Wisconsin family died and 2 others were injured when their SUV was rear-ended by a tractor trailer and caught fire. Police say those in the SUV ranged in age from 8 to 92 years old. Minutes later, another crash in the opposite direction injured 3 other people. Straight ahead, we will tell you how last year's tornado outbreak affected some of our neighboring states, and we will tell you about a surprise some folks in Martin County found while cleaning up right after the storm. The night of the March 2nd tornadoes, we were on the air with wall-to-wall weather coverage for hours, tracking the twisters as they moved across the state. We scrambled to get our crews in the hardest hit areas. It was not until later that night and even the next day that we realized it was probably the worst natural disaster in eastern Kentucky since WYMT signed on the air in 1985.
The reason we are hitting the air, it is now over in Powell County. A tornado warning issued just within the last couple of minutes here. Reports coming in that there is a tornado on the ground, and looking at that radar signature, I'll tell you what, I just about bet my bottom dollar that that's the case, and it is headed right toward Morgan County. If you are in West Liberty, please get into a safe location. This is a life-threatening situation.
A deadly outbreak of tornadoes and severe storms has left a devastating mark all across Kentucky tonight. Even at this late hour, the full extent of the damage and the number of dead is not known.
We could see it forming and twisting, and we stood in our yard and watched it twist over, and it came right towards West Liberty.
Police department badly damaged. A whole strip of stores also gone. There are just blocks and blocks where they are trying to remove rubble and save people.
There are a handful of roads blocked that they are working right now to get through and to cut through the debris. Lots of trees down, tons of power lines, and they believe a lot of houses could be back there with people stuck inside and possibly injured.
My husband's cut pretty bad on his head, but we have no idea where his mother was. And they were in a trailer too.
Couldn't get the door open. It just slammed back with me and kind of knocked me down, and that's when the trailer started spinning, and it spun fast. It didn't seem like that ride lasted 2 seconds until it stopped, and I woke up on the ground.
Well, I'm pretty sore and can't really move, but other than that, I'm glad I'm alive.
Most of the buildings in town are wiped out. Churches are destroyed. The Sayersville schools are also damaged.
Yeah, I don't know no way to describe it. It's devastating to the community.
I just thank God that He brought me through it.
I just thank God for being able to be here to talk to you.
It just amazes me that something like this would happen in eastern Kentucky.
Still incredible. Other states also felt Mother Nature's wrath on March 2nd last year. Just across the border in East Tennessee, a tornado tore through Harrogate, leaving destruction in its wake. An EF2 rolled across parts of Claiborne County, kicking up winds up to 120 miles per hour, leaving behind a path 250 yards wide. Thankfully, the storm did not injure anyone there. The storm damage included downed trees, and several roofs were blown off homes. An EF1 tornado also touched down last year in southwest Virginia, trapping several people in their homes in the Ewing community. Several homes were damaged as winds of more than 100 miles an hour ripped through the Lee County town. No one was injured. It was the only confirmed tornado in Virginia during the March 2nd tornado outbreak. In southern Indiana, Henryville schools saw some of the worst damage. Not one but 2 tornadoes ripped through Henryville High School. The school has come a long way in the last year. Principal Troy Albert says the key to their recovery has been staying positive and keeping the students focused on what they can do to help others.
I feel like our students and staff are wanting to reach out and help others in need, and that's been the most rewarding experience of what we lived through.
And following that tornado, the students were surprised with a private concert from the Grammy Award-winning group Lady Antebellum. Officials were able to begin the new school year in their building just 5 months after the tornadoes hit. Employees at an office building in Martin County got a surprise when they were cleaning up right after the twister hit. As the tornado made its way through Martin County, it flattened Linda Sumter's office that sits right off Route 3. Employees and friends came together the next day to start the cleanup process, and they never imagined, after seeing that damage, that their fish inside the office could have survived. Now, all of those fish, except for one, which they named Tornado Bob, are still alive today and we're sad to report that Bob just died last week.
And now, Sky Alert weather featuring Pinpoint Doppler, Eastern and Southern Kentucky's most dependable forecast. Sponsored by Community Trust Bank, building communities built on trust.
Outbreak. Let's just take a look at the three major tornadoes that impacted us here in Eastern Kentucky. We had the West Liberty tornado. It was an EF3. Maximum winds estimated around 140 miles per hour, path 86 miles long. The Salyersville tornado had maximum sustained winds of around 160 miles per hour, path just shy of 50 miles. And the tornado that hit close to my hometown of London down in East Bernstead was an EF2 with maximum winds around 125 miles per hour. Here's a map showing all the tornadoes from the National Weather Service on March 2nd. Notice there's the tornado from West Liberty, the Salyersville tornado, the East Bernstead tornado, and all the yellow boxes. All the tornado warnings issued by the Weather Service that day. Almost every county in the state of Kentucky was under a tornado warning at some point 1 year ago today. Pinpoint Doppler radar now not showing any severe weather, showing plenty of snow out there, and it is a little bit heavy in some locations. We are seeing reports of slick roadways, so take it easy if you have to be out and about tonight or early tomorrow morning. Likely going to be a slow go as those roads are going to be slick. 28 right now. Popular temperatures: Somerset, Monticello, Middlesboro, 26 London, 25 into Jackson. Those temperatures are going to drop a few more degrees. You can see how the snow just rode in on the northwesterly flow today. We're going to see that flow begin to dry up a little bit as we go through the evening tonight. So the worst of the snow should be wrapping up. Made for beautiful scenery today. This picture is sent in by Cheryl Hayes in Beattyville. Just an absolutely gorgeous scene. You can see the little cardinal in the tree there. But as we saw earlier, it is creating those slick roadways. Check out this picture sent in Leslie County by Tammy Hacker. White roads. That's not what you want to be seeing as you head out to church tomorrow morning. I will not be surprised if snow goes not going to be very active. Let's go through the overnight. You can see the snow begins to taper off as we head towards sunrise. Probably some lingering flurries, maybe a light snow shower through about 8 to 10 a.m. By the afternoon, we may see a few peaks of sunshine come out from behind those clouds. Temperatures generally into the mid to upper 30s for highs tomorrow. We go into Monday morning, another chilly one, starting out mid-20s as you send the kids out to school or head out to work. Monday afternoon, we warm up to the 40s. Isolated shower possible, but about 80% of us to 90% of us should be nice and dry. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's going to be happening. The disturbance which has caused the wintry weather over the last couple of days, it's beginning to move on out. High pressure going to move on in, and that's going to give us nice weather for 2 days before we see our next storm system begin to roll on in by the middle of next week. And that could be a little rain to snow event. You can see the rain aspect of it on Tuesday. Highs in the upper 40s, lows into the mid 30s. And as we look at the 7-day forecast where your weekend is always in view, Wednesday looking pretty wintry at this point. Rain, snow mix. Well, we'll have to wait and see exactly how that plays out. But after that, a little taste of spring in the forecast. 50s by Friday and 60s on Saturday. Steve?
I'm looking forward to next Saturday and 60 degrees because I'll actually be off that day. Thank you, Shane. Tonight is a little bittersweet for me. This is my last regularly scheduled 11 p.m. newscast. However, I am not leaving WYMT. I'm just moving into the news director's role, which means I must be here in the mornings. I will still be with you at 4 and 6 each weekday, and I will also occasionally be back here at 11. Leaving the 11 o'clock news is not easy. It's been my home since day one at WYMT, May 17th, 1999. For those who have watched 14 years or 14 days, I thank you. A wise man once said that those of us in television are chosen to be servants. It doesn't matter what our particular job, we are chosen to help meet the deeper needs of those who chose to watch and listen day and night. I will miss our late nights together. Sports Overtime Saturday night is next. Good night, everyone.